Hello and welcome to the Personal Pan Podcast number 2. I am acbtheman along with
Thetalltech.
and
Lionontheclould.
nice. So this is the first time the lionontheclould is here. Hi, Lion. How are you?
What's going on, guys? Thank you for the reach out on this podcast. Great podcast.
Well, thank you. No problem. Actually, Lion was one of the people that had started following the Fat Guardians and was actively involved in saying, hey, all this other stuff and liking pretty much everything we're putting up. So we pulled him on here, and he definitely knows his Destiny stuff, definitely knows his video games. Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself, Lion?
Well, I'm from Georgia, born and raised. Currently in the military, in the Navy, stationed in Madison, Wisconsin. Go Cheeseheads and all you Green Bay Packer fans and Badger fans. That's pretty much it. Eat, sleep, and play Destiny. That's my thing. Come home and do every day.
Nice. So pretty much you sound like you play just as much as I do, which is great. Any other games lately that y'all have been playing? I have got Portal 2 again since it's on the backwards compatibility for Xbox. I just love playing for that again. Anything else y'all are playing lately?
Fable 3.
That one's a good one. My wife actually wants me to download that, and I will later. talltech, anything else for you?
Just Rocket League occasionally.
Hey, this last weekend was the Rocket League free weekend, I think, or maybe it was the weekend before. I don't know. It's fun. I definitely love that game. Got to buy it. So this week they dropped a little bit of news from E3. Not very much news. Essentially, hey, we're getting higher res textures and maybe some better stuff because they're doing just last gen, or they're taking away last gen. But we had a huge patch, the 2.3 patch. Is there anything that just jumps out at you from this patch, or anything from this past 4 days that just hits you in the head that says this is new and this is different?
Well,
Hunters are not good anymore.
Well, hunters got changed, but for me, the trip mine grenade not sticking just made me have to change my playstyle, because trip mine grenade, in my opinion, was the best grenade. Probably was the best grenade for that subclass, but I actually switched to the I don't know what it's called, but the scatter grenade type, just because the trip mine grenade does not do what I want it to do anymore.
well, to be honest, I've been at church camp for the past week, and I've been in a secluded area with no cell service or access to technology. So, I'm kind of out of the loop on this.
Alright, well, let's just go down some of the very quick things. Essentially, all of the supers in PvE that you thought didn't do enough damage, Golden Gun, Hammers, Nova Bomb, what's the other one? The
Blade
Lightning
Dancer.
Warlock, Blade Dancer, Lightning Warlock. Essentially, every single super got a buff.
Yep.
For PvE. They got a buff, so they do a little bit more damage in PvP. So some of the people in supers, your super can counter that. They want to essentially have super feel more powerful. And in PvE, that's what they did. Some of the other things, like for example, Hammer of Soul, they increased the travel speed and detonation radius. But I mean, that's not that huge of a deal. But this was the Hunter change. They changed the grenades, changed the supers, did a whole bunch of stuff to them, essentially trying to make the hunters a little bit more balanced. But what they did is they made it to where you have to now think about what playstyle you're doing in order to use a hunter class effectively. For example, with the Golden Gun, it now does extra damage, and it's now viable in PvE. The throwing knife, the damage was reduced a little bit. They changed the Circle of Life bonus to precision headshots, reduce the cooldown of your Golden Gun. Scavenger now gives you more grenade and melee energy, and they changed around some of the stat mods, recovery, and armor, and all that stuff. Blade Dancer, they essentially made it to where you can't use it as mobility anymore. If you don't connect with a target, you use more super energy. If you connect with a target, you use less super energy. So as long as you're hitting a target, you're going to be able to attack them longer. If you're just using it to get across the chasm, like some people used to do in the Crota raid where they'd pop it and just fly across. You can't do that anymore because you're not going to have enough super. There's a couple other things in there that are kind of very nitpicky. Night Stalkers, the big one that I have to say that I have been loving ever since they dropped it on Tuesday. The Shadow Shot now applies the suppression effect on impact. So you shoot next to an enemy, they're immediately suppressed instead of waiting a second and you may be getting killed by a hammer or getting killed by anything. I heard stories on a couple of other videos where someone would pop their Shadow Shot around a corner and somebody could run through and get a Titan Smash off, which nothing against Titan Smashes. But that's the biggest thing about that class that I am loving. There's one more thing. The smoke does not cause you to be immobile as much anymore in PvP. It does more damage, but you can get out of there if you're focused on getting out. Now you can get out.
Which helps out a lot, because that can be very, very aggravating doing trials.
Yes, I'm just jumping now into trials and trying to play with different people, and honestly, I'm just going for weapons and armor and stuff. But last weekend, I was playing some trials before this, and you get hit by that smoke. You can't move out. Especially, it was Pantheon, and so some of those back hallways, they throw it in the corner, and you're stuck in that corner trying to get out, and then they throw their Void Wall grenade right in front of you, and you're pretty much dead. And so I'm glad that that is gone. What else did they do? Oh, the big thing too, a couple things. They changed Shade Step, and then the Titans...
Twilight Garrison.
Twilight Garrison, yes. Yep. They're now a 1 use and a 3-second cooldown. Before I say what I have to say, because I've been talking a lot, what are your thoughts on the 1 use and then a bigger cooldown?
It was needed. Especially, I mean, I just think about the competitive play of Destiny, but especially with the Shade Step, I've seen people, I even done it myself, where I let off a sniper shot, Shade Stepped, and let off another one, and I know for me that's aggravating, because as soon as you receive that one shot, you try to aim and shoot again, and it just leaves you very vulnerable to that enemy. As far as the Twilight Garrison for the Titan, I seen somebody set up with a nice Void or Striker Titan will just skate around the map, shotgun people, just keep moving. You can't hit him with that Twilight Garrison because he evades every shot. So I mean, it's to better the game. That's the way I look at it. That's my views on it. It's just to help better the game.
Well, I like it because, not only it'll make you think more about it. I like it because it now makes you think about the exotic you're going to use. Like for the Titan, the only reason that I didn't use Twilight Garrison is because I just don't like the way it looks. I know that's a really silly thing to say, but I don't like the way it looks, so I didn't use it. But everyone else and their mother was using it. I mean, even Andrea was using it. She doesn't have it, that's dope. But everyone was using it for that utility, and it now gives you some chance to move to something else. I know other people are using a couple other things, but it now gives you a chance to move away. The Graviton Forfeit for the Hunter for that Shade Step ability plus Relentless Tracker ability. You now have other choices to think about for your Hunter. I'm actually going to think about moving to more of a Golden Gun build for PvE and PvP, so I'm going to think about some of those. Now, talltech, here's where we come to you.
Okay.
Here's where we come to you. They had a couple changes to the Warlock. Your Firebolt Grenade now takes a little bit more time to hit an enemy, and it's a little bit smaller radius. And the Viking Funeral perk no longer extends duration of Ignite effects. It now says people that are afflicted with Ignite take 5% more damage from all sources. So what do you have to say, being essentially our Warlock guy?
Well, I have noticed the difference on the grenade, but I just thought that was me being bad at the game. Other than that, I don't really have a lot to say other than go Warlocks. Woo!
Go Warlocks. One thing about the Warlocks is Void. I love all the Void subclasses. Excuse me. The Voidwalker is now viable in PvE because of the Nova Bomb getting increased damage, and then the perk Lance now giving it 30% more damage, It's now viable to use the Voidwalker in PvE because you now can do damage to enemies. Everyone wants you to run Sunsinger for that oops button, but I'm going to start running Voidwalker more often just so I can, because it's my favorite subclass for the Warlocks.
Yep, mine too.
Alright, so we have some weapon changes. Do y'all notice, first off, have y'all noticed anything with these weapon changes before we kind of go into the specifics?
I don't see a lot of people using I see people using a lot of the slow firing auto rifles instead of, the Doctrines of Passions and Soul Claw.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's the only big change I have seen. I think scout rifles and pulse rifles are the dominant right now.
Yeah. The thing that I have though is they said they had a 6% damage reduction on those high rate of fire autos, your Doctrine of Passion or your Soul Stealer's Claw, but I still am using my Soul Stealers, and I'm not really seeing that much of a difference. Maybe a 0.1 or 0.2 addition to my kill time, but when we go into Iron Banner next week, which we'll talk more about in a second, when we go into Iron Banner next week, I don't think that's going to be an issue because it is going to be Clash, and so I'm going to be running around team-shotting as many people as I can. I don't think it's going to be that much of an issue. I'm still going to wind up using it. The thing that I see the most is hand cannons got an increased accuracy, and I have a, it's called the Byronic Hero. It's the Crucible hand cannon right now, and I have Hidden Hand and another stability boost on it, and it's almost back to the old ways where you can just pull the trigger as many times as you want and hit him in the head. Now, I do have Hidden Hand, I do have a stability boost, but with those two perks, it's almost like we're playing with Year 1 hand cannons. You just don't get quite the range. Have you played with any of the hand cannons lately, either of you?
I was playing with the, what's my favorite one right now? The Lord High Fixer.
Yeah.
That's the main one I've been playing with. I've seen like a... I've been having to come up close to a lot of shots. For me, I mean, me personally, I hate long distance shootings with shooting with a hand cannon, so I'm always play up close, and it seems like I'm having to come a little bit closer to me.
Yeah, the Hawk Moon.
Go ahead.
Oh, the Hawk Moon doesn't seem to be able to have as far as reach as it used to.
Speaking of Hawk Moon, Bungie is apparently scared of Hawk Moon because they've nerfed it the last 2 patches. We have a slight reduction to Hawk Moon stability, so you will have to step up a little bit closer, take a little bit more time to aim. You're still going to do great next week with it. It's still going to be an awesome weapon, especially with its 3 rounds of extra damage. The Hawk Moon specifically is on here where they put the stability down. The thing about the hand cannons, though, is Bungie has stated, starting with, I want to say it was straight up when taking Kingpin out, they've stated that hand cannons are supposed to be a short-range weapon. So you gotta know that you have to be really close. Honestly, when I'm running my hand cannon, I'm also running my Two to the Morgue shotgun because it has 6 rounds in it, and I have rangefinder and I believe Underdog on it. So I mean, when I'm damaged up close, I'm going to have better stability anyway. So it's 6 in one hand, half dozen in the other. I mean, you got to be close, but at the same time, that's what Bungie has said you have to do. Any other weapon changes we want to talk about really quickly?
I just want to be able to
one I really
do. Oh, go ahead.
No, what do you got to say, thetalltech?
I just would like a feature of maybe if they're going to nerf hand cannons a lot in the future, give us dual wielding.
That may be a little over. That would be fun, but that may be a little overpowered.
Yeah. 2 Hawk Moons.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
Maybe an exotic. Maybe an exotic that dual wields but does like half damage, and the advantage to having that exotic would be essentially double the ammo, so you can fire for longer. Uh, I don't know. They're not the problem. The problem with hand cannons is in year one they were the dominant factor, and you had Thorn, uh, which just everyone hated. You had the Last Word, which everyone hated but nobody talked about, and you had Hawkmoon, which was only in PlayStation. And those three were like the guns to have. And so, in order to make sure that every gun type is viable, they had to say, "Hey, let's pull back on some of these hand cannons." And then with with the May update or the April update, they put that stability and pushed that range a little bit further and realized, oh, it's pushing into the range where people are starting to use hand cannons um, over the auto rifles or over the pulse rifles again. Nobody's really talking about pulse rifles. They haven't said anything about here, but I read that's still going to do good next week in the Iron Banner. Speaking of Iron Banner, really quickly, we're going to talk about a couple other things with this patch. But Iron Banner is back next week, guys. It is Clash. What are your thoughts on the Clash?
Team play. It has to be team play. I mean, when it comes to Clash and Iron Banner, if you're not a team, you're not going to do good. You're not going to win the matches.
I completely agree. Like for me, I like Iron Banner Control because that's what it was all first year. I like Control, but with Control, you can have two people on your team, essentially drag your team with you and get that win. With Clash, like you said, if you don't have that team play or you don't have, like I was talking about the team shotting, where I'm essentially going to pick another person and run around with them. Like every time I spawn, I'm going to run to a teammate and stay by them. If you don't do that, you're just going to die, and the other team's just going to smash you. Any thoughts on Clash, talltech?
I'm going to get yelled at a lot next weekend, aren't I?
No.
Nah, man.
See, here's your job. You're the teammate we're going to run to.
Yeah.
You're going to run forwards and take the damage, and we're going to shoot them from behind you. How about that?
Okay, I'll be the decoy.
Well, basically.
Do you have the RAM?
No, I couldn't afford it.
Okay, we're going to swamp then, because I got the RAM. I'm going to run a high armor Voidwalker build then, so actually swap that. You shoot them from behind me. That's what we're going to do next week then.
Okay, that sounds good.
And I'm going to run my Titan, so it would be good.
What'd you say?
I'm going to run my Titan, Striker Titan, so it would be good. I'll throw grenades all day. It would be good.
Sounds like we got a plan. Actually, I run all three characters on Iron Banner, but I normally pick one to start with, and I'm just going to pick and grind out the most of my Warlock. I haven't done that in a while. I don't like the Warlock jump too much. But anyways, so next week we are getting helmets, class items, the scout rifle, and the machine gun from Iron Banner. Those are the feature rewards. You can get extra rewards for maybe hitting rank 5 or this or that. The scout rifle, though, it's one of those you either hate it or you love it. I don't know the name of it off the top of my head, but it is the highest impact, lowest rate of fire. So in regular Crucible, it is a 3 headshot kill. If you have a Titan bubble, it can be a 2 headshot kill on some of the lower armored, like hunters and stuff. But it is essentially a very slow firing, heavy hitting weapon. I can't get used to it though, especially playing with like Mida, the faster firing, or playing with my Satyrian Rapier, which is kind of the medium of the road. I can't do it, but maybe you'll like it. Some people love it, especially if we're talking about Clash. If we can grab one early, it's definitely a good team shot because even if you get some body shots in, it'll take a lot of damage down off of them. So that's Iron Banner. We're going to have a lot of fun. It's just essentially deathmatch. The one good thing about Clash, it's going to push the games along faster, I think, especially because it only goes up to 10,000?
Yep.
So I mean,
isn't there a time limit too?
There's a time limit, but I think it's the same time limit on your control matches. Clash just seems to go by a lot faster. So we're gonna have some fun with that. A couple more things from the patch. The alternate endings to the Paradox mission and the Lost to Light mission, which are the missions that you can get the Black Spindle with or start your No Time to Explain quest, can now be chosen from the directory itself instead of waiting for them to become daily heroics. After this, we're actually going to go try to get thetalltech his Black Spindle. But I am happy that now we're going to get it. Don't worry, I've got heavy weapon sense. We are going to burn them down. We're going to get, don't worry. But anyways, the alternate endings are there, so I'm glad we can just jump into there and start those quests instead of waiting for them to come up. The Challenge of Elders now, a little harder. They said...
yeah, a little.
Well, that's just this week. Trickle and melee kill bonus stinks. But they've now changed the point system. They said people would just sit in there for hours farming, would sit in the last room for hours farming ads to get bonus points, and it would only take 50 points or 100 points away every time he grew impatient. So you could just continuously farm ads and never have to worry about that. Now they've made it to where your points are 50 points times the number of times you've grown impatient. So if you're sitting there for a while, he could deduct thousands of points from your score at a time. So not only now you can't just rely on the ads, you have to actually take that boss down. Like this week, we wound up getting 34,000 on the challenge, but that was right at the end. We had a whole bunch of ads we were able to kill, and we killed the boss for another 2,000 before he grew impatient. But he was taking 500 points away each time. It was going 500 and 550 every time he grew impatient. It was not fun. But I understand why they did that, too.
It was needed. People were cheating. I mean...
yeah.
I don't know necessarily cheating, but...
Now, is there
there's no need to sit down. Just because you want your name on the website, there's no reason to go sit down for 3 or 4 hours and just grind out the very last room.
I agree.
Right. Is there like a maximum cap of points that he can take away, or does it keep increasing?
According to this, every single time he does it. So there's not a max. So if you sit there for too long, he will take all of your points away in one go. Eventually we get to a point. Because, for example, if you have like 30,000 points, you're wanting a little bit more, and he said 10 times, that's 500 points away. It goes up to 20 times as the 1,000. It just keeps taking them down. And eventually it will hit a point where you cannot gain more points and he'll pull away. So if you're sitting there for like the hour trying to get them, you're never going to get anywhere. It's going to essentially be a wash. So, I mean, you can get a lot of points, but there's a point where it'll stop being able to gain points and you won't be able to get those high scores.
Right.
By the way, 3 new chroma colors: orange, magenta, or pink, purple, and green. So,
seen a lot of people with the green. Yeah, I hope so.
I've seen a lot of people running the Radiant Dance Machines on Hunters with the green. A lot of people running that Raid green glowing shader with the green too.
I wonder how many other colors they're going to come out for Rise of Iron.
A bunch, I'm hoping. We'll talk about that in just 1 second.
Question
okay.
for
Go ahead.
For YouTube comments: is camo a color? And answer below.
Yes, it's camo a color. That is, yeah. Yeah. Please.
I'm not going. Y'all argue down there. I'm not going to give my opinion on that. Well, now that you think about it.
See?
And the debate's on.
The debate's not on because I have arguments both for and against it in my head right now. So, let's move on.
So that sounds like a debate.
With me, I want to see what everyone, since you said comments, I want to see what everyone has comments down there. So, really quickly, if you're wondering where Trials of Osiris is, it's gone because there's a couple of bugs introduced with this patch. Every once in a while, people would hit where they couldn't join a game. Every once in a while, people would hit where they couldn't see warlocks, mostly. or people would load in as silhouettes, and you couldn't do any damage to them. Mostly warlocks for whatever reason. And then there was also a bug where every once in a while you'll get into a match or you would shoot people and only do 1 or 2 damage. And Guardian Health, I think, is around roughly 200. It sits around 200 depending on your armor, but Guardian Health sits around 200. And even if you have like a high impact sniper, you're doing like 2 damage. And so because there are these issues with some PvP stuff, Trials of Osiris is suspended until they can get it fixed. Iron Banner's coming back, so hopefully they get it fixed by Tuesday. But
So, when will Iron Band or Rise of Iron be able for pre-purchase in Xbox?
it should be right now. Is it not available right now?
I know last time I checked.
There's not an option to purchase.
Maybe not yet.
I would say if you're able to go to GameStop,
it may be one of the...
go to GameStop and get a free poster.
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll be there soon enough. But I know you can pre-order right now. So, like you said, if you go to a physical store, especially GameStops, you can get them. But it should be on there. Make sure you do pre-order it though, so you can get your Iron Gallahorn.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so speaking of Gallahorn, they nerfed it right before the Taken King, so it had like a week where the nerf was essentially effective. And essentially they made it to where the Wolfpack rounds didn't do as much damage. They did about a rocket and a half's worth of damage instead of 2 full rockets like they used to do. Is that going to be enough to make other weapons viable in year 3, or do you think it's going to be like year 1 again, where if you look for an LFG group and don't have Gallahorn, people won't pull you into your group?
Oh, I hope not.
I think it'd be viable. I think other weapons will still have a chance because I just think about who's going to waste that one exotic slot for Gallahorn. You do have other good weapons. I mean, I like using Telesto. You got all the fusion rifles, Plan C, that's doing really well right now. People still use Mida multi-tool.
Well, the argument though is, in year 1 you could run it as your exotic and not have to worry about it. But what people forget is in year 1 some of the legendaries were a little bit overpowered as well. Essentially, like, do you remember the raid sniper from Crota had the same perk as the Black Spindle right now, except it didn't, before they nerfed it, it used no ammo, and so you could infinitely shoot people or shoot bosses in their critical spot. So while I think what's going to help it not be the need-all weapon in year 3 is because the weapons aren't as overpowered as they used to be, and you'll actually want to think about what exotic you're pulling out. Also, from what we've heard, is all of the exotics for year 2, or most of them, the new ones especially, are situational. Like, they're better in this situation. For example, the what's the heavy fusion rifle? It just
not Supercell, Sleeper Simulant.
Yes, Sleeper Stimulant, or whatever it is, Sleeper Stimulant. It's a great weapon, does a lot of damage, but it is situational. If you have anything that moves faster than a Hive Knight, it's not going to be worth using. I mean, you have to get really good with it in PvP to kill things. I mean, when the Hammer Titans were really, really overpowered, it was one of the only things that could one-shot them, but you had to hit them with that charge. And so, like, all these things are situational, so there's a good chance that even though Gallahorn will be very strong, and if you have a team of 6 Gallahorns, it'll be strong, there's a good chance that in the raid especially, they'll make encounters where Gallahorn may not be the best option, where one of those primaries or secondaries may be a better option. I still think, though, we're going to get back to that. You need to show me you have Gallahorn in order to join. That sucked.
Yeah. But,
Well,
go ahead, Tante.
I was just gonna say, but Bungie's, that was year one was kind of like, to me it felt like Bungie's. I mean, it's the first time anybody's made a game like this, and it was their kind of test case. Now they've had time to work on stuff. I think hopefully they'll have it a lot more balanced.
They should, and honestly, there's probably going to become another nerf for Gallahorn will reload ridiculously slow or something else like that. Because it's almost been confirmed. It's pretty much been confirmed from the video that Wolfpack rounds are back. But there's got to be something to where it's not going to be the catch-all anymore. I remember looking at LFG, and like every other post was got to have Gallahorn or don't have to have Gallahorn. And so the one good thing about that, though, is I knew if I joined a group that allowed me to be in there before I got my Gallahorn, that I wouldn't have any buttholes playing, because I had people that were just like, no, don't worry about it, just come play with us. Alright, is there anything else? Is there any other topics that y'all would like to bring up before we kind of bring this to a close, talking a little bit about Rise of Iron? Anything that we haven't talked about Rise of Iron? Any of the new stuff from the patch? Iron Banner next week?
Not really.
Just get ready for Rise of Iron. Yeah. Save up your moats. Save up. Yeah. What can you save? What can you do to prepare yourself for Rise of Iron? I would save engrams, because it seemed like once this update came out, about this April update, people were already 335 in 10 minutes. Which I don't suggest you burn through the content like that, but whatever helps.
Right.
Well, hold on to those engrams, but watch for patch notes. Yeah. Because when Taken King came out, they said old House of Wolves engrams would not pull up to new gear. So hold on to them, but be wary that they could drop something like that, which I'd be surprised if they did, but just be prepared for that. Also, if you have any favorite weapons from Year 2, don't automatically assume that the Year 3 weapons are going to be better. We have not been given confirmation yet. We've been given about if Year 2 weapons will move forward, but we've been given confirmation that the infusion system will work the same. So there's a good chance most, if not all, of your Year 2 weapons will go forward. I know there will be good weapons to pull from the there'll be good weapons to pull from the new update, but if you've got one that you really, really, really love, pull it forwards. So just do that. Also, I think y'all got your hands on some Grassham Maliks this week? Are y'all happy with your rolls for your Grassham Maliks?
Not yet.
I'm just happy I got it fires a lot quicker and a lot more stable for me than my, what was my other pulse rifle? Oh, my Smite of Maran.
Yeah.
It fires a lot better than that one. Just because I don't have to worry about the recoil so much.
Well, you got a stability roll on yours.
Yep.
I didn't get a stability roll. I got life support and glass half full, which glass half full is fun, but without that stability roll, I might as well not have the gun. I'm not going to delete it because I want to keep it, but yeah. All right, well, I think that concludes the Personal Pan Podcast number 2. My name is acbtheman.
The thetalltech.
I'm lying on the clued.
We want to say thank you to Lion for joining us, and just for the future, we'll try to include Lion on as many videos and as much content as we can.
Thanks, man.
Well, I mean, he was one of the first persons that really started to address and start to connect, and he's just a great friend. And we're not saying that everyone that starts to connect or becomes good friends with us will be on our content, but he's definitely one of the first ones. And so, anyways, So look forward to more content with Lion. Look forward to, hopefully in the next couple weeks, a special video, and you'll know when you see it. Look forward to a special video from me. But anyways, this has been the Personal Pan Podcast number 2. Any pizza can be a personal pan pizza if you try hard enough. Thank you, and have a good night.
Good night.